Hi everyone, I hope you're well, thanks for clicking on the video. UFC 282 is right around the corner, and it's one of the lighter pay-per-views in recent memory to say the least. But with that being said, it's a great way to test the star power of Paddy Pimblett, who's starring in his first co-main event slot on a fucking pay-per-view, right? That's a massive deal considering how few fights he's had in the UFC. Paddy's a guy who's attracted the attention of the masses for a while now, since before he was ever even in the UFC, right? When he was over at, Cage Warriors, the UK promotion, he was the champion there for years, right? Since those days, people have been saying, man, this kid's a star, we've got to get him in the UFC, he's so entertaining, all of these things, right? And we're finally in a place now, right, where he's in the UFC and he's fighting consistently, or as consistently as he can fight, considering how fat he gets outside of his fight camps, right? And for as entertaining as he is, and for as fantastic as his ground game seems to be, he's super rudimentary on the feet, right? Like, I'm always worried for Paddy whenever he stood up against a guy who's a capable striker, right? Because although Paddy is powerful, you can't deny that, right? Especially after seeing his knockout victory in his UFC debut. But that's the perfect fight to use as an example as well, because although he got the knockout victory, you saw throughout that fight that Paddy overextends far too often, leaving him open for counter strikes. And his chin is also sky high half the time, right? So I'm concerned for the day that Paddy fights a strong wrestler, someone that possesses good striking themselves, because as soon as Paddy fights a guy like that, right, a guy who forces Paddy to stand with him, I think Paddy's going to be in grave danger. Just look at this screenshot here, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Chin to the fucking ceiling, and it's like that damn near all the time. And I think the team that Paddy has around him, i.e. his management, his coaches, see the situation for what it is. And I think the matchmaking that we find Paddy in is reflective of that, right? Like, the kind of guys that we see Paddy fighting at the moment aren't people that are of the caliber required, I feel, to take him out. Which is actually not as high as you may think, right? Like, we're seeing him fight Jared Gordon right now. Jared Gordon is very mediocre, at least inside of the UFC, right? He's very much like a win one, lose one type of guy. He found himself on a win streak a couple years back, if I'm remembering right, but he's kind of fallen back to his old ways of winning one, losing one. Even though that's the caliber of fighter that Jared Gordon is, he still may be one of the better opponents that Paddy's fought in the UFC, right? And with that being said, you know, he's not particularly great anywhere. He has okay stand-up, okay wrestling, okay jitsu. I remember him being the main sparring partner, or one of the main sparring partners for Paul Felder while he was still fighting, right? So he's clearly decent, right? Because of course Paul Felder is someone I held in quite a high regard in terms of his fighting ability. But with that being said, I don't see Jared Gordon as being a fighter that's going to be capable of truly breaking into that upper echelon of fighters. And I feel like Paddy Pimblett, although, like I said, he leaves a lot to be desired in terms of his technique on the feet, I feel as though Paddy is someone who could, if he continues on this path, make his way up to being in that upper echelon of fighters. And Jared Gordon, unfortunately for him, I think is just going to be another name on Paddy's list. So with that being said, my prediction for the fight is that, you know, I really see Paddy finishing this fight. I can see him finishing it with a rear naked choke somewhere in the second round. I'd be surprised if he got it out of there in the first, but that's also completely possible. Yeah, I think that's how I feel about it for now. If you guys have any thoughts and opinions on the fight, please leave a comment down below, and I'd love to get back to you when I have the time. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more UFC content, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.